Hey there guys, welcome to Piece of Truth. It is actually Sunday, May 31st, 2015. About 1:01 p.m. as I'm recording this here. Came in on a quick break and I actually went on my Fascist Book account and a buddy of mine had tagged me in there, quote unquote tagged me in a post. And I read the article, my head about exploded. And I figured I'd do a quick video on it. And this is basically just damage control. That's probably what this video will be called. Alright, this article was from the Daily Dot. I'd never even heard of the damn thing. My guess is that they're more of a liberal progressive website, since I haven't really heard of them. But in either case, the headline goes, "Conspiracy theorists will truly believe anything, says science." Says science! Alright, so it says here, admit it, you love to hate read the conspiracy theory bullshit your friend or relative regurgitates all over Facebook. But have you ever asked yourself why he or she believes the seemingly unending drivel? Scientists in Italy tested an idea that the people who are active on conspiracy theory promoting news websites are more likely to believe even obviously false claims compared to their more scientifically minded internet counterparts. They recently published their results in an open access online journal. Now, I'm going to try not to stop this too many times during the article, but notice the bias. They're more scientifically minded internet counterparts. So they're trying to reassure the people that believe in science. The researchers tracked or spied on the likes, comments, and shares of 1.2 million people as they interacted with alternative news posts and mainstream news posts. They found that people who were more invested in alternative narratives tended to stay within their group. Their likes, comments, and shares were mostly doled out to alternative news websites, and rarely did they venture to mainstream posts to like or comment. On the other hand, mainstream news-oriented folks were more willing to sojourn on the conspiracy pages to participate in debates in the comment section. The researchers went a step further by monitoring more than 4,000 pieces of troll information, obviously false information with a satirical bent, on 2 dedicated pages. Fringe news included chemtrails are laced with Viagra, an infinite energy machine has been created, and mosquito poison used in parks is made from chemicals toxic to humans. They found that conspiracy theorists were more likely to like and share the troll information than the mainstreamers. But the study is not without its detractors. Rebecca Watson, a prominent blogger and podcast host in the skeptic community, obviously a fucking shill, voiced some criticism in the study on her YouTube channel. I really thought that the researchers would go above and beyond to come up with something ridiculous in their troll information, Watson said. But if you think Viagra chemtrails are ridiculous, you don't know what conspiracy theorists actually believe. And this is where they really hijack the narrative, you know what I mean? This is where the bullshit really gets thick. Watson defends her claims by saying that conspiracy theorists believe that spraying vinegar above their heads protects them from the effects of chemtrails, and that the world economy is run by lizard people. Alright? Complete character assassination. They lump any critical thinker into a group of folks that believe that spraying vinegar above their heads protects them from effects of chemtrails. Chemtrails allegedly contain Viagra, and that the world's economy is run by lizard people. Now, we know what's going on here. We know that this is just ridiculous. Anyway, Watson's criticism is understandable, but she seems to be missing the point of the research. These kind of studies are important because they quantify the social phenomena. Walter Quattrochiocci, I guess, the study's corresponding author, told the Daily Dot. He added that even people in the skeptic community, or anyone really, can construct their own echo chambers. Now, he used the skeptic community. See how they're even actually trying to hijack some of our words. This study is also just one of a series of studies by Quattrocchiocci's group. We've covered their work before. In general, this group has found that people tend to self-select their own echo chambers based on their pre-existing beliefs and the social reinforcement that comes with those beliefs through likes, follows, comments, and shares. It makes sense when you think about it. After all that hate reading your aunt's various posts about crystals and chemtrails, didn't you eventually unfollow her because you couldn't take it anymore? Have you ever had the experience of being unfollowed or unfriended because you challenged your Facebook friends' beliefs in the comments? In another study that is pending publication, the authors also find that, most dishearteningly, debunking campaigns do little to affect change in conspiracy theorists' minds. Why? Because users segregated into their own echo chambers are not reached by the information. The few that are reached reinforce their consumption of conspiracy-like stories, Cointreau says. Cointreau, I don't even give a. Other groups have also found that sending debunking information directly to people with false beliefs also causes them to cling to their beliefs more strongly, in a psychological phenomenon called backfire effect. Cointreau and his colleagues, by spying on Facebook echo chambers, and seeing how far people's false beliefs can go, will ultimately help researchers to understand how and why alternative news is so contagious. It probably has nothing to do with truthiness, right? Who cares about the truthiness of the news these days? People want sexy news, you know? They want Ebola. They want fucking ISIS. One reason the researchers posit in their study is that as science gets more complex as it progresses and the mainstream news reflects that, this is both in singular article about science and in the overall spectrum of scientific articles, which can often contradict one another. Newsflash, so does scientific studies. That's how science progresses. Okay, newsflash. In other words, science just changes whenever it's convenient for those fucking ruling science. Alright. Going on. Conspiracy theories and alternative news narratives generally offer simple explanations for complex problems, which may make them more attractive. The staggering volume of information on the internet, paradoxically, also makes it easier for people to cherry-pick the information that suits their beliefs. They go on to share and reinforce those beliefs when their like-minded friends like, share, and comment on their posts. It's also important to know that conspiracy theorists are more likely to believe obviously false information because it's already caused problems for people at large. Conspiracy theories hindered progress in containing the Ebola epidemic in Africa in 2014. Even 4chan had a disturbingly successful fear-mongering campaign with Ebola-chan, the viral goddess of love and Aphrodite. The internet is not unlike the Wild West of information, and if we're going to stay on top of how that misinformation is spread, we have to know what we're dealing with. Now, this is incredibly dangerous stuff, especially to those who don't know what they're reading. Now, I don't have to go into explaining those of you who've been awake for any period of time. I like to joke around and say whenever we read these articles, we see ones and zeros. You know, whenever we see a news report, we almost instantly know that A, we're being lied to, and then that B, that something closer to the exact opposite of what we're being told is really the truth in most cases. Now, I find it very, very disturbing that they say that conspiracy theories hindered progress in containing the Ebola epidemic in Africa in 2014. And then they go ahead and they mention 4chan. Now, I'm not really familiar with 4chan other than I think they might have been involved in a few other scandals, I think with Apple and a few other large government-backed corporations, if I'm not mistaken, which would make them a perfect front kind of government bastard backdoor resource, almost like ISIS. Anyway, I'm getting off topic. Basically, if you want to watch through this insufferable bitch talk for 3.5 minutes, you can do that. I'm going to leave you a link to this article, and then you could go to the YouTube thing and watch this shit, I would recommend that you only do it just to give it one of those. And maybe a few choice comments as well. And yeah, that's about it, guys. I just really want to work to try to disarm this kind of propaganda, because basically they're just getting people to shut down any kind of thought process that might be happening in their brain, any kind of critical thought that might actually cause them to think for themselves.